Hi everyone. Many people are perplexed by the idea of how their marriage would be, when would they get married, and when they start analyzing their horoscope by themselves, that is the time there are so many principles of astrology which can be cannibalizing. So you must have read it in a book, looked at it in a video, and you see, okay, if seventh house is placed like this, then this should happen. But there are so many parallel principles where you need to be very clear on how do you analyze your seventh house? Or in other words, how do you analyze if you want to look at your marriage? If you want to get married, how it's going to happen, whether it will be love marriage, arranged marriage, and things like that. So first thing is look at the seventh house. Which are the planets in the seventh house and which is the sign which is your seventh house. So, I mean, your sign could be Leo, your sign could be Aquarius, your sign could be Cancer, it could be anything. First thing you need to see is whether that sign is your friendly sign or your enemy sign. And two, are there any planets occupied in the seventh house? I mean, my rule of thumb is generally the analysis and everything becomes way easier if the seventh house is not occupied by any planet. However, even if there are planets occupied, one or more, then we need to categorize them into are they ascendant? Are they Lord of Kendra? Are they Lord of Trikon or Trine? Are they Lord of 6, 8, or 12? And are they malefics or benefics? And if there are more than one, then we also need to see which particular planet is going to overshadow the remaining ones, or are they going to be equal? So let's elaborate on this a bit. So let's say you are a Cancer ascendant, and for Cancer ascendant, your seventh house is Capricorn. So in Capricorn, let's assume you have Mars. Mars in the seventh house, and here Mars is exalted. So though we have a malefic, but it's exalted. What will Mars in seventh house do? Mars in seventh house is basically triggering to short live your marriage life. It will have loads of clashes or egos going around. Yes, Mars is exalted, but the exalted benefit will not be in the marriage side. So how this will play out is, and this can be applied to even Bhagwan Sri Ram Kundli, because that is where this placement can also be seen, where Bhagwan Ram also did not have the marital, I mean, pleasure or success in that manner, because I mean, we all know, and this is based on the kundlis which are available freely on the web and in old books. Similarly, let's say if in the same Cancer sign, in the 10th, in the 7th house in Capricorn, you have Saturn. So Saturn here would mean that Saturn in the 7th house, first, it'll delay your marriage. I mean, there will be other aspects to see if there is any denial or not, but it will definitely delay your marriage. It's in its own house. So what it would mean is like you will get married, but at a later stage. Looking at other factors, this could also mean you might get married to someone who is either elder, older, significantly older to you, or sometimes it could also mean like the person looks a lot older than the actual age. So seventh house, which planets occupy there, is very, very important. Then the second part is seventh lord. Where is the lord of the seventh placed? So let's say the lord of the seventh is placed in any of the Kendra. Then it gives a much better sign, like that this is going to be quick at a normal pace. You may get married soon, things like that. However, if the lord of the seventh is in Trik Bhav, sorry, 6, 8, 12, then that can cause delays or problems in marriage. If you have either of Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, or Mars, the natural malefics in 6, 8, 12, then this can further add problems to your overall, like when the marriage happens or even after marriage. Again, here, this is not an individual horoscope analysis. So, with an individual horoscope, you may have a conjunct of maybe Saturn with Jupiter. So, we need to see where all it can cancel out. So seventh lord placement becomes very important. And at the same time, you also need to see that is it generating any yog or dosh out of it. Sometimes people either they fail to understand or they just oversee the fact that a parallel principle of a Vipreet Rajyog may also be happening. Yes, your seventh lord may be in eighth or sixth. And what if like the sixth lord is already in 12th? So then in that case also it generates a Vipreet Rajyog, which means a lot of malefic effects will be cancelled. A lot, not all. And one of the most important things, any connection of Saturn with your seventh house, like whether it is in your seventh house or it is the lord of your seventh house or it is aspecting your seventh house. I mean, largely from 1-7 axis. In those cases, there is a delay in marriage. That's what causes delay in marriage. If there is a connection of Venus to your seventh house, then in that case, again, Venus which is not debilitated, Venus which is not combust, Venus, I mean, a healthy Venus, then that would mean like Venus in the seventh would mean you'll have an attractive spouse. You would be very much into romantic or even you'll be like crazy about even sex. So that's one. If you have, let's say, Rahu in your seventh house, then Rahu in the seventh house would mean that yes, it'll bring in some element of surprises, but it would also mean like if Rahu is strong, it could mean that and it has a good connection with Venus, so you may be getting into a love marriage, and that would be against the family. So this is how the combinations can play. Another example, let's say Ketu is in your seventh house. So Ketu in your seventh house would also mean that either your you may be marrying someone who's had a broken marriage, or it may be something to do with a broken engagement. Sometimes these are the things which we see pretty often. So this typically like applies on the Rahu Ketu in the 1-7 axis. Then a lot of people also consider Navansa Kundli. So D9, which is called. So see, my understanding is if the planets in your seventh house and the seventh lord, they both indicate positive, then in that case, do not even go to Navansh. Because if both of them show healthy signs that you'll get married, everything looks fine, you don't need to refer to D9. D9 should be referred if your answer to either of the two questions, the seventh house placement or the seventh lord placement, is negative. So then you look at the D9 chart. And only only if the D9 convincingly states that the seventh house and the seventh lord are in a really good position in Navansha, only then the decision is overturned. But if Navansha it again says one is good, one is not good, then you stick to your original where there will be hardships in marriage. Dasha of the seventh lord, these are the things which you require for timing of your marriage, but that will be a separate video, which I think will be a long one. So here if there is a connection of Rahu and Venus, you and both of them somehow linked to your fifth house, there will be strong affair between for the ascendant. If the same combination or the same aspect comes to the seventh house, that affair is definitely going to translate into marriage. If there is also an angle of Mangal coming into it, the Mars aspecting the Rahu or the Venus or both, or is in conjunct with either of them and aspecting the other, even in that case, there will be a strong sign of converting your affair into marriage, but that will be going against the family. So there will be these nuances which one needs to consider. So assessing your marriage, the timing and everything, etc., how it will be, it is not a one-off principle. You need to look into multiple parallel principles. If you want to get your analysis done, you can drop in a line using the comment box. I've also shared an email ID and a WhatsApp link to connect with me.